Hey everybody, if you've been wondering how Albert is used in an actual AP classroom, then this video is for you. So I'm going to explain how I use Albert in my Computer Science A AP classroom to help support and motivate my students of all levels, from the exceptional to the struggling. And I want to show you how I use Albert as a tool to do that. So I am going to go over, number one, how quickly it was for me to get started with Albert. Number two, I'm going to show you just basically how I've been using it in my classroom, and I've only been using it for maybe 3 or 4 months, something like that, since about the 3rd or 4th week of school, and it's just the first semester. So I'm going to show you how I use it in my classroom and hopefully give you some ideas how you might help your students. And then I am going to end up by showing you maybe some more ideas on how to support the students that are struggling. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to go, first of all, to the subjects. So when you first log into Albert, you're asked to take a survey. And when you take the survey, it pops up with several sections of questions that you may want to use. Now, let me just preface this by explaining something. So Albert is an online study guide for your subject, and mine is AP Computer Science A, and I want the students to study and prepare for the AP exam that's going to be in the spring, and I want them all to pass. That is my ultimate goal, is to have them pass and have them do really, really well, the best that they can do. And I feel that Albert is a tool to help me get there. Now, you can see that I've only got 2 subjects that popped up when I took my survey, and actually only 1 subject, because I teach AP Computer Science A and I don't teach principles. Now, even though this is the only one that popped up for test prep, there are other questions and other categories that I actually have found that I can use. Now, at first I was a little surprised that there was only 1 category, and I thought, oh, this is going to be disappointing. But then whenever I went into the section, I quickly saw that there are a lot of sections, and I go into each section and there are multiple questions in each section. As a matter of fact, I just completed my semester review and I pulled in 300 questions that I thought would be good to ask my students, and I pared those back down really quickly to 200 by getting rid of all of the difficult ones and then paring it down to keep only some of the moderate ones. All right, so there are a lot of questions that are here, and not only are there a lot of questions, but I want to kind of show you the style of the question. So in computer science, it is really important that my questions be accurate and bug-free, and I have actually found that to be the case. I don't think that we have found any problems or any bugs in any of the questions. They all work, and the answers are reliable, and the students aren't questioning it, and that is actually a really, really good thing for me, because I don't have to figure out, you know, what went wrong and what the right answer is, and if or anything like that. I trust Albert to give me a good question every single time. Now, once you answer the question, then the students are actually given a detailed explanation about which one is the right one and which ones are the wrong ones. Okay, so probably should go ahead and let me go back up, and I want to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go into this question. I'm just going to choose one and say submit my answer, and it will actually show you which one's the right one and choice B, and then it usually gives you explanations about which ones are incorrect and why they're incorrect. So the detailed explanations that follow each question are very superior. Now, what I don't like about Albert questions is that they're really hard. They are probably like a test prep for someone who just wants to study because it's right before they're going to take the AP exam, which is good. But at the beginning of the year, when everyone is just a beginner, even if we go to Unit 1, some of these questions are extremely difficult for beginning programmers, because they've got to learn the way they phrase the questions, the vocabulary, and then they've got to learn how to trace code and how to trace it well. So my students found even the easy questions to be pretty difficult. So if I had a suggestion for Albert, then it would actually be to have another category, maybe a beginner category. Right now, their categories are easy, moderate, and difficult. And there are a lot of easy questions. So I am happy with the amount of questions. I just wish they were a little bit easier. However, I did tell my students, you know, if you get 30% of your questions right, then I'm happy with that. And it probably means that you're going to pass the AP exam. So as long as they knew that that bar to passing was at 30%, then they were okay with it, and they were motivated to actually do the reviews. And by motivated, I mean most of them were motivated most of the time. But you and I know in a perfect world that all of them would be motivated, but some of them were not. Okay, so now that I've kind of shown you the fact that there were multiple questions, I want to show you a picture of what my classes look like. And here are my classes. Notice that every person in my class has a different box, and it has some detail for each one of my students. So I really don't have any students with the name of Brave Johnson in it. So the names have been changed to protect the innocent, or maybe the not so innocent. Okay, so here are all of my students, but I actually have, and this is basically what my students have done in the way they look, but it looks like I've got several that are struggling and barely passing, but really passing, proficient, excelling, and mastery are actually all doing really good at this beginning stage. And I actually think that all of these students in those categories are going to do really well. And as for my struggling students, some of them were struggling because they were unmotivated to actually do the assignment. So let's go into the assignment, and I'm going to show you one of my assignments. Now, I use my assignments as basically a review for a unit. So like for example, I can go into the Unit 2 review, and I can show you who did or did not do the review, how much of the review they did, how successful they were at the review. Now it looks like Awesome Chattery did not do very well, but in actuality, this is probably a pretty good student, and they are just learning to read the questions and trace their code carefully. And so this person is probably going to do pretty well on the AP exam as long as they don't give up. Now, I'm worried about the people that are basically unmotivated and they're not doing all of their assignments. So the ones that did 0% or the ones that did half or less than half, those are the ones that I'm actually going to worry about, that I want to motivate to actually do more so that they can be successful on the AP exam. They are plenty able to be successful. It's just they need to put in the work. So this is how I plan to motivate them. Now, when I make the reviews, then I usually make it worth some points, not very many points, but a few. And I also allow them to work together in teams. So I give them some time in class, they work together in teams to complete the review, and they seem to like that really well. When they're online, I can put them in a breakout room and they can work together, and I will do the pop-in, which of course, all the students hate the pop-in, but I'm going to do the pop-in so that I can see if they're talking to each other, and I can kind of encourage that as well. So working in teams to complete the review is the way I've found is really, really good. The advanced students actually help explain it to the struggling students, and also there's a little bit of camaraderie there as well. Okay, so that is one of my ideas, put them in breakout rooms and get them to do the questions together. And you can either make tests or you can do like I do and make reviews. Now, another way that I help motivate my students to actually do these assignments, these reviews, to get them ready for the unit tests, is that I've told them I am going to take like 3 questions or 5 questions, 3 to 5 questions from the review. I'm going to recycle it onto the test. So if you did the question on the review and you understand it, then you should do really well on the test. That actually is also a very good motivator. And let me go back, and I want to show you something else. Now, this is something about Albert that it took me a little bit of time to get used to. if you see over here, Albert has folders, and usually on online websites for quizzes and tests and making assignments, a folder holds quizzes. But think about a folder as holding questions, not quizzes, but questions. And so a folder could be a test or a quiz or a review. You'll notice that I have got reviews here, and then I've also got some quizzes in here as well. And I wanted to show you the FRQ review. So in this FRQ review, let me go look at it. Then I see an FRQ called random word. Now, I don't know how it is in a lot of AP classes, but in computer science, FRQs are hard for students because they are having to write code out without any help. Usually they're sitting at a computer in an integrated development environment that marks their syntax errors, and they run it, they write a little bit, they run it to see if it works, and they keep writing. But they don't have that help when they're sitting in front and trying just to write by hand an FRQ. So FRQs are a lot harder for students than the multiple choice questions are. I don't know if it's that way for all of the AP classes, but I know it is for computer science. So this is what I did to help bring up and support my struggling students. What I did is I basically took their random word and took the prompt, and I copied the entire thing because, number one, this format is exactly what the second question on the AP Computer Science A FRQ is going to look like. It's looked like this for the last 2 years, and I think this is the style that they want this second question to look like. So whenever I copy it over, then all I have to do is change it a little bit, and I can make it harder, I can make it easier, and well, I'm going to make it easier. So I copy that and I paste it, and let me show you what I came up with. So I put it in here, and again, we did the FRQ on Albert together, and we did it for practice. So then I copied the prompt and I made another one along the same lines. So this one, I called it Song Tracker, not random word, but Song Tracker. And I'm basically doing the same thing, but it's just slightly different. But the functionality is the same. The difficulty is a little bit easier. So I made Song Tracker, and I actually made another one. So on the test, I gave them this one, Song Tracker, and it was exactly like the practice that we did. And those that were unsuccessful still, I made another one I copied and pasted this one and just changed some things and made it a tiny bit easier so that they could actually have practiced it twice and then tried to do it on their own the third time. They actually learned a lot by doing this, and I am going to keep that up. It's really easy to copy and paste those FRQs. You cannot copy and paste the questions. Kind of wish that you could, but I understand that Albert wants to keep their questions secure because they are high quality. I did ask them if I could copy and paste the prompts, the questions, and recycle them, and they said it was okay. At least right now it's okay. If they tell me different, then hey, I am going to do it different because I don't want to do anything that's unethical, illegal, or anything like that. But for what I know right now, it is perfectly fine to recycle them as long as you have actually purchased Albert for your students. Then you can use their questions for your students and any flavors of those questions for your students. Now, if we don't renew Albert the next year, I will not be doing that, and I will not be using those questions, and I will come up with ones on my own. So, and I will remove the ones that I put on the test. But in this year of COVID, since I am a singlet teacher and I'm coming up with all the material on my own, I have no help from people on a team, I am my own team, then I need high quality questions, and I need them now. So whenever we are online and I'm giving online tests, then I might as well just consider those tests unsecure, and they are out now, and I am going to have to come up with all new tests next year, all new questions. And so this is helping me this year, and it's helping me save some of my questions for next year so that I don't have to come up with all new ones, and it's helping me a lot this year as well. So this is saving a lot of my sanity this year. Okay, all right, so back to what I was showing you with Albert. All right, so we've gone over how I use them to review my questions, how I use them to scaffold the kids, my struggling students on the FRQs, and bring them up so that they're able eventually to do a harder FRQ, which they should be there by the end of the year. I have full confidence that they will be. Yes, hopefully. All right, so now let's go back and look at the questions. Let's go back, and I want to go back to the folders again. Now, in the folders, whenever you go in here and you are looking at it, again, I'm going to go to this Unit 2 review, and yeah, that thing's in the way. Okay, that's not the one that I wanted. Did I say that, did I mention the fact that I am fairly new to Albert? Yeah, I haven't been doing this very long, but fortunately the Albert website is pretty well constructed, and even though I may not be able to go to something automatically, like right then I can usually find it within just a few clicks. So I am not unhappy with that at all. All right, so let's say that I want to go through some of these questions with my students. Okay, so I want to actually go to my folder, which is the Unit 2 review. Okay, all right, so here we are. There are 33 questions in here, and another way that I use this with my students is that I sort them by difficulty, putting the easiest ones first, and we usually cover several of them. I give them the review about a week before we actually have the test. So every day I try to cover at least 2 or 3, and it gets students into Albert, gets them working on it, and I usually give them time in class to do a couple with me and then 3 or 4 more. And like I said, if you put them into breakout rooms, then they'll have more time to work on it with a smaller group, and they feel like they can actually ask questions, and they're not asking it to everybody in the room. All right, so I ordered these, and if you go to one of the questions, and let's say that I choose an answer and show the solution, then it'll tell me what the percentage was of people that answered it correctly. And then it'll also tell me if they didn't get it correct, then what the second most popular choice was, and I can go look at that second most popular choice, and I can actually fill in any gaps that my students might have, what they might be misunderstanding. So I use it to see which ones were the most missed, and I usually at this point in the first semester with the first few units, I am sticking with the easy ones, and I am basically I go over the moderate ones when they ask me to, but I'm not going to go over it with the whole class. If they even just did the easy ones, then I think I'd be happy with that. Okay, so hopefully this video has been helpful, and I just want you to know that when Albert asked me to do this, I said, are you sure? Because I've only been working with Albert for a few weeks. And even though I sometimes click around on the website, I'm still really happy with the way it's set up. I like the way that I'm seeing all of my peeps. And I like the way that I can go to the assignments and click on and see the progress for each one of the assignments and each one of the students, see which ones are not doing it. Then I can go check their unit tests and say, hey, did they do the review? Were they ready for this test? And usually there's a correlation there, which is not surprising. Teachers are used to that. Okay, so that's it for now. Again, if you like this video, then click like, and hopefully you can try out Albert. Remember, they've got a 30-day free trial for your classes, and you can try it out and just discover this for yourself and see if you like it. Okay, and I will see y'all later.